we've got Dr. Ellen Bryant here in the studio with us. How are you doing today?
Doing great. It's good to be here this morning.
Yep. Don't forget, every second Tuesday of the month, we got Dr. Ellen Bryant with us, and you can always leave questions for him and stuff, but he's just going to tell us a little bit what we got going on in Idabel Public Schools and what's going on and what we got coming up. I know we got track and baseball, softball, starting up now. So
yeah, spring sports are starting to fire up for us, and anybody that works in schools or been around schools or even parents of students in schools knows how busy it gets in the spring semester. And that's true. With all the spring sports starting to fire up, baseball has started. In fact, we just started last week. First games of the season last week. Going strong now. Baseball season, that's a time when you see spring coming in, which I love the spring season, and baseball is a big part of that. So baseball has started. The same thing. Track is getting ready to fire up. They'll start running different meets around. Run some over in Arkansas and some in Oklahoma, but all that will be beginning very, very quickly as well. I want to give a shout out to our powerlifting team. So we have a rock star coach with our powerlifters this year, Coach Darren Rios, and he has done a good job about getting kids out and participating in powerlifting. Amazing to me the number of students in middle school and high school both who want to participate in powerlifting. We didn't have that when I was a kid in school, because that was a long time ago. Yeah. The numbers, probably boys and girls combined, he probably has over 70 kids out participating. Our girls have just wrapped up their season. Whenever powerlifting moves on into what I guess we would term the playoff sense for powerlifting and move on to regional and state competition, girls are wrapped up. Last week they went to their state competition, and girls wound up in the large schools. There's two different categories, small school and large school in powerlifting. Our girls wound up in the large school category, and our girls were the state runners up in powerlifting this year, which is fantastic as a team. Had state champions. Maya Murray, of course, is a senior this year. Give a shout out to Maya, 4-year state champion in powerlifting. So, of course, that's just wrapped up with the girls. The boys will be wrapping up this week. And so, they're doing great things. Those kids are doing great things. So baseball, powerlifting, track, started. Also, give a shout out to our Special Olympics teams. They've been participating in some statewide competitions as well. And the numbers of kids that get to go and participate in those, and they do well, they love it. They will participate in these state competitions. We have Unified Partners program. So not only do we have our students who maybe are in our Special Olympics, we have kids who would be classified in regular education that participate with them, our Unified Partners. And so the partnership between our special education students, our regular education students, and what they're able to do in statewide competitions as well, it is fantastic. So all those things are going on right now. Of course, spring firing up, kids will be running up and down the roads, participating in those spring sports band as well. Participating in state competitions right now as well. In fact, did well enough when they were at their regional or area competitions that they're moving on to state competition as well. So a lot of great things happening at Idabel schools, and so we're tickled to death what our kids are doing and the things that are going on there. And we're talking about these activities. That's what our kids enjoy doing. But again, another thing that happens in the spring, testing window. Statewide testing is taking place at the end of April for our students, and so our teachers are working diligently right now. Get the last minute preparation. It's just not a one-time preparation. It's a year-long preparation for our students on academic testing. And so we're at the time of year where that will be taking place within the next month. And so last minute trying to go back and review where our kids are, where they may need a little bit of extra help academically to be successful. That's what's going on with our kids in school right now. So I know our kids and our staff both are looking forward to Friday afternoon, because we'll move into spring break next week and get a week off with those kids before we come back and really hit diligently into our end end of the year activities.
So, what would you say to these students who get nervous when testing? These tests come up at the end of the year. I remember I was always, and I was, I was an A and B student, but I always just in the back of my head, like, what if I fail? What if I didn't get to go to the next?
I think there is a real issue that students face. Students face with this issue, and that's a testing anxiety. I believe that's real. I wouldn't have thought it too much until I worked with students in schools for a period of time, but there are some who have that real fear of testing. And so my encouragement to them is don't worry about it. Go in and do your best. You have been prepared. Your teachers have worked hard to prepare you. Go in and take your time. Do your best. Don't get frustrated. Don't think I can't do this. Take your time. Work through it. Hey, you'll be fine. And that's all we're looking for is your best. That's what your parents want. That's what colleges are looking for is your best effort. So, hey, great kids, and give it your best, and everything you do, give it your best on this final shot of state testing as well. And that's the best you can do. Don't worry about what this test might mean or what it can do to me. Just go and take it one problem at a time. Work through it. Go to the next one. You'll work through that just fine.
Yeah. Because a lot of the times, like I said, it was just anxiety. And of course, back then, or it always took like a while to get back to our test scores and stuff, and it may be summertime before it. But I was always right there in that middle, whatever. I wasn't too far away from the middle ground. So, but it was just I did notice when I started taking my academic career more seriously as I got into high school and stuff, that a lot of this is like once you know it's there. Like, once you start reading the question, you're like, oh, I got that. Whether it's history, science, or, even math, once you see that problem, oh, I got that. Like, and it's just that security of, I would say, like, it's kind of like sports, that you can practice as a team and work good as a team, but it's the things, some of these athletes do outside of practice. The receivers, maybe they practice catching the ball and they're making spectacular catches that you can't really coach. That kid just has been working on that. Yeah, and he's been working at perfecting it. Yeah. Some kids basketball, they can just hit from anywhere. In left wing, right wing, 3-point, just pull up a jumper and just make it. And a lot of it, they have that ability, but they also work at it. They also try to perfect it. And I think maybe maybe students maybe should think about that. Like, okay, I learned it in class, but let me go over it one more time just to make sure.
You that practice.
Yes, that practice. If you get anxiety about the testing and stuff, like maybe you just have that one-on-one. Like, okay, it. Tell because a lot of it is self-conscious. Telling yourself, like, what if I don't? And if yourself know, if you tell yourself, like, okay, we know this, we got this. Give yourself that little pep talk before the test. And
have that self-confidence. I've been taught, I've practiced it. Don't worry. That confidence, I can go into this, I can take this test, and I'm going to be successful.
Yes,
absolutely. So I think that's a real thing, and so I just want to, first of all, I want to thank our staff for the work that they do, all of them, in helping prepare our students. That's amazing, the work that they do, and give them some encouragement as well. The end is coming, quickly, and just some encouragement. Just let's do this last minute work with our students on that practice, just as you would if you were coaching a sport somewhere. That practice, that consistency, so that our kids are ready when they're in the game. Yeah. They're ready to go. Just, encourage you to continue on, fight all the way to the end, and encouragement to our students. Hey, you're going to be prepared. Take it one question at a time.
So before we started this last month, just random questions to get to know your superintendent. What was your first job?
Interestingly enough, and then, of course, this was years and years ago, when I was a youth. But my mother worked for the school district in the community where we lived, and so I was fortunate because of that. So even before I was 16 years old, probably 14, I was able, along with some of my friends whose parents worked in the school district, for a summer job, worked for our school district during the summer. So I might be up on the roof, patching holes in the roof, or might be cutting grass, or repairing fence or something along those lines. So I guess first I would say real job where I had a real paycheck coming. It was working for our school district, and that gave me some, I guess some groundwork as far as learning how to work and work with my hands, and not being afraid to be outside. So I guess that was real job. If I were a real job, I would walk around mowing yards. Anybody would let me mow their yard. Same thing most kids do right now, and trying to find a way to earn some income.
Okay, let's see what we got here. Are you a morning person or night owl?
Actually, I think I'm more of a morning person. I don't want to go to bed early, but if I sit down on the couch, I might start dozing and falling asleep. But I'd rather get up in the morning and get started with my day. So that's what I typically do: get on up and enjoy the sunrise in the morning hours a little bit.
Yeah. It is more peaceful when everybody else is asleep still.
That's right.
You get up early enough. And
that's exactly right.
Let's see. What is one song you'll never turn off when you hear it, when it comes on?
Because when I was a kid growing up, late 70s, early 80s, the Eagles were a huge band at that time. And the song that I like by the Eagles, of course, I like most of their songs, but one that really stands out, Hotel California. And so that is a long song. It goes on and on for forever. But that's one of my all-time favorites.
A classic.
Yeah.
One more. Let's see. Did you ever get in trouble when you were younger in school?
Oh, I did. I mentioned my mother worked for the school district in the superintendent's office. If I got in trouble at school, she made it to her before I ever got home. So I better be telling her before she ever had to ask me about it. Yeah, there were a couple of times I made my way to the principal's office, took my swats with the paddle, and went on back to class and trying to do better and not get in trouble like that anymore.
At a certain point, you kind of start learning, like, okay, I don't want to do this no more.
That's right.
Because I was like that. My dad, my music teacher knew my dad, and he'd call him if I acted up and stuff. I ended up getting a paddling one time, and it made it to him before I even got home. And that was when I knew, like, don't even try to lie. Just if he asks you, he already knows.
He knows the answer to the question.
Yeah, so just go ahead and hang your head and just yes. But sooner or later, it was just like, I don't want to be the class clown. I don't want to be in trouble anymore. Like, it's just not worth it anymore. Like, it's not fun no more.
Yep, exactly.
All right. Well, that was Dr. Alan Bryant, Superintendent for Idabel Public Schools. We appreciate you coming in, and we'll see you next month, second Tuesday of every month. Don't forget that. You're listening to 96.7 KBEL. We got